Have you ever looked at someone successful and thought, I could never be like them? You start something new, but soon that little voice whispers, you're not good enough. So, you stop before you even begin. This is the story of a young potter who felt exactly like you until one broken pot. One painful lesson and one wise teacher changed how he saw himself forever. Once upon a time, in a peaceful mountain village, surrounded by whispering pines and crystal streams, there lived a young potter named Liam. Every morning, the soft mist would roll down the hills as he sat beside his wheel, watching his teacher, Master Rowan, shape clay into beautiful vases that gleamed like sunlight on water. People traveled from faraway towns just to buy his creations. Liam admired him deeply. He wanted to create something beautiful, to something that would make people smile. But each time he tried, his hands shook. The clay wobbled. The pot would collapse or crack before it was done. He would sigh, sweep the broken pieces aside, and whisper, I'm just not good enough. Master Rowan often watched him quietly. You have a good heart, Liam, he said one morning, but you let doubt guide your hands instead of faith. Liam forced a small smile, pretending to understand, but inside he felt lost. Each mistake chipped away at his confidence. Maybe I'm not meant to be a potter, he thought. Yet every night he found himself returning to the wheel again, hoping, wishing, trying one more time. The villagers praised Master Rowan's perfect pots, while Liam's small corner stayed empty. Still, something in his heart refused to give up. He didn't know it yet, but his greatest lesson was about to begin with a single broken pot. Days turned into weeks, and Liam's progress was slow. No matter how hard he tried, something always went wrong. Sometimes the clay dried too fast. Sometimes it collapsed, and sometimes it cracked in the oven. Each mistake made his heart sink deeper. He started to believe that maybe talent was something you were born with and he simply didn't have it. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Master Rowan walked into the workshop. He picked up one of Liam's broken pots and smiled gently. Do you know what I see here? He asked. Liam looked down. A failure, he whispered. No, said Rowan softly. I see effort. Every crack means you tried one more time when you could have given up. Liam didn't answer. His throat tightened. He wanted to believe those words, but his heart was tired. That night, he sat alone by the river, watching the moonlight ripple across the water. Why can't I be like him? He murmured. The next morning, he made a decision. I'll make one last pot, he told himself. If it breaks again, I'll stop for good. He worked from sunrise till dusk, shaping and smoothing the clay with trembling hands. When it was finally done, he smiled. It was perfect. But as he lifted it carefully from the wheel, a faint crack split down the side. His dream shattered once more. Liam stared at the cracked pot in silence. His hands trembled, and tears filled his eyes. All his effort, all his hope broken in a single sound. He wanted to throw it away, to walk out and never touch clay again. But Master Rowan entered quietly and placed a hand on his shoulder. Do you know why it cracked? He asked. Liam shook his head. Because I'm not good enough, Rowan smiled sadly. No, because you were afraid. You tried so hard to make it perfect that you forgot to let it breathe. Fear makes even strong hands weak. That night, Liam couldn't sleep. Those words echoed in his mind. Fear makes hands weak. The next morning, he returned to the workshop. The broken pot still lay there. He picked it up carefully and looked at the crack again. This time, instead of anger, he felt calm. Maybe, he whispered, this isn't a failure. Maybe it's a beginning. He gathered fresh clay and sat at the wheel once more. For the first time, he didn't chase perfection. He simply worked, letting his heart guide his hands. The pot that formed wasn't flawless, but it felt alive. From that day onward, something inside Liam began to change. He no longer tried to make perfect pots. He tried to make honest ones. Each piece he shaped carried a bit of his heart, his patience, and his story. And slowly, the cracks disappeared, not because he forced them to, but because his fear no longer controlled his hands. Weeks passed, and his shelves began to fill. Some pots were crooked, others uneven, yet each had a beauty of its own. The villagers who once ignored his corner started to stop and stare. One woman picked up a small bowl and smiled. "It's not perfect," she said softly, "but it feels warm. Real." Liam's confidence grew. He began experimenting, mixing colors, shaping new designs, even leaving tiny marks on purpose to remind himself that flaws could be beautiful. Master Rowan returned and saw the shop full of pots, each glowing gently in the golden light. "You've learned the real craft," he said proudly. Liam looked around and smiled. "I stopped chasing perfection," he said. "Now I just create." Rowan nodded. "And that's when true art begins, when your hands move with love instead of fear." For the first time, Liam felt free. Months later, Liam's little shop became the heart of the village. Travelers stopped to see his work, each pot telling a quiet story of patience and courage. One day, a nobleman, passing through, noticed a small cracked vase on the shelf. "Why display something broken?" he asked. Liam smiled. "Because this crack taught me who I am." The nobleman tilted his head. "And who is that?" Liam looked at the sunlight dancing through the tiny fracture. "Someone who no longer hides from his mistakes." The man nodded thoughtfully and bought the vase. Word spread quickly about the potter who sold imperfect pots. Soon, people came not for flawless beauty, but for the warmth and truth his work carried. Years passed and Liam became a teacher himself. When his students grew frustrated, he would hold up that same cracked vase and say, "Perfection isn't the goal. Progress is. Every flaw is proof you dared to try." And so, the boy who once doubted his worth became a master known not for his skill, but for his wisdom. Because sometimes, the most beautiful art and the most beautiful life are the ones shaped by imperfection. If you loved this story and want more tales that inspire and remind you of your own strength, then subscribe to Tales with English. Every story here teaches one simple truth. You are stronger, wiser, and more capable than you think.